Hey there. Welcome to Some Idiot Reads, where I'm Cy. I'm some idiot. And it's been a couple of weeks, but I'm here to read. Okay, I thought I misclicked something. Oh, man. It has been a time of things. We'll just leave it at that. A lot of exhaustion, but soldiering on, as it were. However, as is usual for Sundays, it's one or the other, and, it's either Dispatches from Appalachia or, for the moment, continuing with Unsong, and there's more dispatches, and I really want to get those going. As ever, if you are not currently following Coyote, there will be a link in the description, but if this is your first time encountering any of the Dispatches from Appalachia, well, I hope you enjoy, or I hope it at least gets you fired up. Either way, I hope it encourages you. Check out more of his work. I'll rant more about that at the end. For now, however, we're going to go ahead and dive on in. A Hungry America. Hardship for those who need help. When I was just a young coyote, growing up in one of the poorest neighborhoods in eastern Kentucky in the wake of my parents' divorce, I never really gave much thought to the economic standing of my family. All the other kids were poor too, and when everyone is poor, you don't really notice your own poverty. Despite all the things I didn't have, what I did have was a good mother and a community that, while flawed, was nevertheless close-knit. Whenever the neighborhood boys would get wrapped up in a game of basketball near the house, or whenever we all just generally congregated within eyeshot of my mother, she had this thing she used to do that drove me crazy. She'd make a point of fixing a big platter of sandwiches, even if it was just fried bologna or ham and cheese. My mother would then do her level best to guilt trip every kid in the group into eating a damn sandwich, even if they didn't want one. She'd grown up hard in one of East Kentucky's last true company towns, a little place called Wheelwright, and she never forgot what it was like to have very little. Only by working her way through nursing school had she managed to escape her own dire economic straits. But she didn't let the act of pulling herself up by her own bootstraps dampen her empathy or make her hard. Pictured, Wheelwright, Kentucky, back in Coyote's Mother's Day. I remember once, I asked her why she always insisted on feeding all my friends, and this is what she said to me. You never know when one of them is having a hard time. They might be too ashamed to let someone know they're hungry, and no one deserves to be hungry, bub. That's always stuck with me. Not just the idea that one should feed the poor when they are able, but the notion that one should also preserve the dignity of those who are already in a hard place. No one should ever go hungry, and no one should ever feel ashamed of needing help to avoid going hungry. Pictured, Appalachian portrait of starving children, circa 1964. Recently, our country has spiraled into the longest and most costly shutdown in American history. Our political parties, hopelessly gridlocked. The Republicans, seeking to slash health care and torch the social safety net, are held back only by the Democrats' opposition, and it does not appear that a resolution is forthcoming. Of course, it's not the politicians who suffer during this shutdown, but the American people. And there is no greater example of that suffering than the fact that for millions of Americans in the coming months, there will be no funds to support SNAP. Without food stamps, the most vulnerable of Americans, the poor, the disabled, the elderly, and children from struggling homes, will face a November without food, while the rich and the lucky fill themselves with delicious turkey, stuffing, and pumpkin pie. The poor will be forced to go without their holiday meals. I might not be much, but my mother raised me to stand against those who would starve children just for the opportunity to make life harder on other people. These are the words of Coyote Wallace. This is his dispatches from Appalachia. And I'm Cy. Again, just some idiot doing some reading. But today, we're talking about the looming threat of hunger that casts its dark shadow over America. Spare a thought for those who will be doing without. I will not be kind to hypocrites. I will not be gentle with those whose wealth insulates them from the realities of this struggle. I will not look away from what those in power are doing to those who need help the most. Fill your hands. Those who go hungry. The American dream, so often scoffed at these days, once brought my ancestors from the far shores of famine-stricken Ireland to the coal fields of East Kentucky. They came here, like so many others, in hopes of finding a future for themselves and their children that was brighter than the one they had known. Our country was made great by the promise of a fair shake, the chance to take a swing at whatever future you like, and the ability to put food on the table for those that you care about. However, for many of us, that dream is just that, a dream. For many more, even the memory of that dream is rapidly fading. As of 2024, nearly 35.9 million Americans find themselves forced to survive on less than $31,000 a year. That's the poverty line in this country. That's living hard. That's not having new clothing when you need it. That's not having the cash to fix your car when it breaks down. That's living in an apartment or trailer that is well below standards. That's cheap frozen dinners and nights when you must decide whether to afford heat or your child's school supplies. Who are these unfortunate souls? They're you and me. Pictured, a home in current-day Appalachia. Note the cracks in the far wall. The demographics of the poor show just how widespread the problem of poverty is in our nation. 12.5% of women, 16% of all children, 19.5% of African Americans, 23% of Native Americans, and 25% of all disabled people. All of these people, and many more, are fighting with everything in them just to keep their heads above water. Many of them get up each day, face this world with whatever bravery they can muster, and do their very best to climb out of whatever bad financial situation our economy has thrust upon them. Now, what if I told you that even more people in our country need help getting food each month? What if I told you the number of people who receive help through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, is a staggering 41 million Americans? Which I want to say, as an aside, I want to say United States population is somewhere around 300 to 3 or 400,000, or 3 or 400 million people. That's like off the top of my head. Let's run it high and say it's 400 million people. That is 10% of the entire United States requires food stamps. That's pretty fucked. Let's continue. Pictured Appalachian child, circa 1964. Single mothers struggle to make ends meet. Proud fathers who find themselves out of work or disabled by labor. 41 million includes the child every teacher in every classroom across America has worried looks too skinny. That 41 million is made up of grandmothers and grandfathers who may not have any family left to care for them, or who are tenaciously clinging to their independence. That number includes Americans from the West Coast, where housing costs continue to skyrocket, and farming families from the heartland who suffer under the president's tariffs. That number includes the coal fields of Appalachia, where jobs are scarce, and the urban sprawl of the Northeast, where families who never catch a break desperately need all the help they can get. And they deserve far better than what our politicians are giving them now. Starvation is not a pawn to be moved across a chessboard in order to achieve some gambit, regardless of party or political ideology. Whatever the Republicans want to inflict upon this nation, it is most certainly not worth anyone going hungry. They have chosen to inflict this scourge on the American people for the sake of their ambitions, with the gleeful hope that empty bellies will break the resolve of those who oppose them. Bereft of the ability to fashion a convincing argument, the fascist has resorted to hoping that gnawing hunger, sobbing mothers, and children who do not understand why they have no food to eat will prove harsh enough to break our resolve. This is a grave insult to the very integrity of our nation. A plea for reason from my past. Pictured, Floyd County, Kentucky. As I have said before, I grew up very poor here in East Kentucky, and to be honest with you, I've never quite escaped poverty's reach. I myself am well above that poverty line, as are many people in my community here in Kentucky. I imagine the same is true for countless small communities across rural Appalachia, and many more out there in the little corners of our country where politicians never seem to visit. In fact, I'm willing to bet that a great many of us who have known poverty also know what it's like to feel unseen. Now, while my mother worked her ass off, she was also not too proud to get assistance when we needed it. However, there have been times when, whether by circumstance or error, I have known what it is like to go without food growing up. I'd known what it was like to go without food as an adult, too, but you never forget that first taste of hunger when you're a kid. Pictured, children at a food bank. The way it claws at your heart, how it makes you feel ashamed and scared that some other fundamental part of your life might be torn away. If you can find yourself being forced to go hungry, you can find yourself forced to go without heat or a roof over your head. The first time you see your mother cry or your father slouch into his chair in despair sticks with you in a way that can take years to stop hurting. You see, I know what it's like to eat cold sandwiches on Thanksgiving. I know what it's like to avoid social media so you don't see what other people are eating. I know what it's like to have no family or people to celebrate the holidays with. And I know what it's like to feel that anxious worry about whether you'll even have food to make it through the week, much less some grand lavish feast for a holiday. So I ask, why is it worth it to you, Republicans? Is starving these children and families truly being done just to prevent a vote on the Epstein files, as is being suggested in certain circles? Do you really hate the idea of the poor having access to health care so badly that you are willing to starve the very people who elected you into your positions? What gained policy or stripped away asset do you imagine is worth a single day of anyone being denied food? What program do you wish to see shuttered so greatly that you would force an empty belly upon a child? Are you so cravenly afraid of the president, his tiny fist furiously pounding upon his desk in a fit of rage, that you disregard even the most basic tenets of decency? Are you so terrified that your big money masters will be displeased with you that you can't even bring yourself to suggest a non-conditional extension for SNAP funding? To hell with your healthcare battle, and this goes for both sides. Your first priority should be passing a bipartisan, non-conditional extension of SNAP benefits for every American currently enrolled in the program. Nothing else. Nothing on the back end, nothing in the fine print, no tricks up anyone's sleeve. Just money for food for Americans who deserve that help and who face uncertainty because of your inability to govern. Your obligation is to fund the feeding of the poor and ensure that SNAP and programs like it work to better the lives of the American people. Right now, a lot of people are scared they won't be able to feed their families. Food banks are being depleted at a record rate across the country. Communities, outreaches, and churches are banding together in an attempt to soften the blow of the coming cruelty. Yet, no matter what anyone does, there's no way to prevent people from starving without those funds. There's no way to avoid that truth, go around it, under it, or over it. Regardless of the gods you pray to, regardless of where you were raised or the culture that taught you how to see the world, are we not all humans? If we see a child who is starving or lost, do we not have the instinct to protect and feed that child? I cannot help but feel that there are those among the Republican Party who are so detached from the day-to-day struggles of the poor that they have no idea how shameful they appear to us. There's men like Senator Jim Justice of West Virginia, who recently threw thousands of dollars away on a birthday party for his dog, while living in one of Appalachia's most palatial mansions with an estimated net worth of $662.4 million. Do you think he's feeling the pinch? Do you think he's worried about people having enough to eat? Pictured, the home of this piece of shit. I mean, look at that. I can tell you right now, fun bit. This barn-looking bit, I want to say is easily 3 times the size of my entire home. My entire home is closer to the size of what appears to be just like a little patio room here. Maybe closer to this. Somewhere between the two of these. That is my entire home. Would just be eclipsed by this. And he threw a party for his fucking dog. Come on. Do you think he's ever gone hungry a day in his life? What about you, Congressman Mike Johnson? You're the Speaker of the House. You ever gone hungry? Do you think the people of Louisiana will forgive you for making them go hungry while you dine on fine meals each day? Do you think the music that they play in Trump's ballroom will be loud enough to drown out the sound of those hungry children crying in the poorest parts of your district? Pictured. Look at his fucking house. No other commentary on that. I should curse you. All of you. You rat bastards who have plunged us over this edge. You who have celebrated and delighted in the possibility of hurting others by making their lives harder. You who are so afraid of that which is different from yourself that you have conspired with the most unwholesome of men, the fascists and the racists, in order to hold our country hostage. those who, for power and profit, seek to install a king upon a cheaply plated golden throne. I shall not curse you, though, for your actions and your values prove a far unkinder curse than my tongue or pen is capable of delivering. Do not let the American people go hungry. Do not let the children of this nation face holidays with empty tables to remind them that they are already on the bottom. Unconditionally fund SNAP, and then go right back to fighting and bickering over whatever else you want. If you do not, you will inflict a woe upon good people who have no business being hurt by these schemes. You will imperil not just their means to feed themselves, but their hope and their dignity with your actions. This does not have to be your path. It does not have to be the choice you make. That orange bastard in the White House will not outlive all of you. And the right choice is as simple as agreeing we don't starve the poor in this country. We help each other. That's part of what makes us Americans, and we must never forget it. Solidarity forever. All right. So, first and foremost here, let me get a comment in. Comments are good. Oh, God. Okay, no. I need to take a moment, let that sink in. That was a rough one. Not in a bad way. Not at all yes, in a bad way, because, it's not like it's a positive topic here. Rough in a very appropriate and, importantly, necessary way. There's actually something I saw. I want to say, Coyote mentioned this recently, was where sometimes there's people, he'll get commentary that, some of the dispatches, grind people down, but then he recontextualizes what's being said and it rephrases it, and then it's suddenly fiery, and vice versa. And that just made me shake my head. Yeah, some of the articles are going to wind up, not at you, Coyote, not at you in the slightest, at people that have that. I get it. I understand if you're feeling beaten down by the realities of things that are out there. I absolutely get that. Hi, trauma response I have is, it takes effort for me to turn that awareness off. I have to live in a constant state of cognitive dissonance between what the world looks like and what is right in front of me, because if I don't, I will go freaking insane. But it does not mean that we can or should shy away from what's going on. And, if people feel down or rough about the content of one of these articles, you know what? That's probably because you should. Journalism isn't supposed to be all about happy and everything is really good. History is not about all the positive shit that's out there. There's a lot of fucking darkness in our collective soul. And we have to reckon with that. Because if we don't, we wind up in a situation like we have today. Just all of this crap. If you don't address it, it gets worse. So look at these. Stare them dead in the eye. Take it in. And if it hurts to do so, if it makes you tired to do that, engage in some self-care, sure. But don't look away. Think I needed to get that out before I do anything here. So, first things first. Second. I'm tackling this topic. It's not a happy subject, but it is a necessary one to acknowledge and look at. And you did that very damn well, my friend. There we go. If you have the energy and the time, go through, leave a comment on the article. Also, importantly, this button right here, I believe, typically is green. It might be black. In either event, use the follow button. Give a follow to his page. Let's keep sending those numbers on up here. And this little thing right here, this little hand with a heart, that is to send a tip. It is important. It is ideal. If you can afford to do so, leave a tip on the article. Any of his articles that you go through, if you enjoy them, leave him a tip. This is something that is funded by the tips. Love it or hate it, writing only goes so far on an empty stomach. I know he'll keep going because he's a stubborn bastard like that, but I really would take it as a personal favor. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you. Like and subscribe. But also, toss him even a buck. I mean, hell, $2, $3. That's a lunch, man. And that's a good thing. So, anything you can do on that, go for it. In addition, also, as of yesterday, from the time of this recording, so Friday, the 7th, as of the 7th, Coyote's second book has been released by Nightmare Press, Sarah Corbin's Bloody Revenge. I actually did a teaser reading of the first chapter for that book on a Nightmare Tuesdays a couple of weeks ago. So if you're interested, go check that out. And if you do like the book, go buy a copy. It's a weird Western with a badass female protagonist. It's got vengeance. It's got guns. It's got the devil. I think he's the devil. He's got something that makes a horrible deal. And this is all in the first chapter. Like, seriously, really awesome stuff. I like what I read. I'm pretty sure someone compared it to Louis L'Amour. Like, come on. If anyone's a fan of Westerns, that means something to everyone else. It's a known name. But yeah, I'll have a link to all of these things down in the description, so please go check that out. And, yeah, I think that's all I got right now. A little bit, because it's been a day and a week. It's been a lot. But thank you for sticking around for this long. Look forward to catching you guys later. We do have more videos. We've got a nice stable of videos going on right now. We got Satisfactory kicked back off. We still have some group plays with me, Jopo, and Squidge. And another Nightmare Tuesday coming up this week as well. I am so disjointed right now. Thank you for sticking around. I love you all. Deuces.